All right. Today we're going to talk about a beautiful little topic called abortion. And I know that puts a lot of people on edge, but I would just like to share my personal experience with it. Now, I brought notes, and I would love to be able to do this without notes, but unfortunately this topic makes me super nervous to talk about. So, I'm just going to go ahead and play by the book. Now, they're just bullet points, just so I don't miss anything. But I do want to kind of make this a little less scattered, because when I've tried this before, it's very all over the place, because honestly, I'm nervous, man. I haven't even told a lot of people that I've gotten an abortion or that I was pregnant, because it's my personal business. But while I was going through it, I noticed that, it's not really talked about a lot. There's not a lot of resources and experiences shared, and, places to turn to where you don't really know what's going on, you don't really know what to expect. So I just want to kind of share what I experienced. It might be different, do your research. And let's get some more people talking about this in a way that isn't judgmental, please. Let's keep that to a minimum. All right, first of all, I just want to talk about how I was before I even had to experience any of this, before I found out I was ever pregnant. I was extremely reckless and very irresponsible, and I thought it was fun, to be honest. I didn't have birth control because, a lot of excuses. Anything I'm gonna say for reasoning is just some bullshit excuse, but in my mind, I was really afraid of doctors. A, I didn't trust them at all, and B, I have always struggled with my mental health, and I didn't want to gain weight, or to be moody, or to get really depressed, or to be, have a lot of acne, and just experience things that I've never really experienced before because I wasn't really comfortable with that. Like I said, bullshit excuses. It really, the fear of doctors is totally outshadowed by the fear of babies. But regardless, I knew I didn't want kids. I took no precautions or safety measures. I didn't even make guys use condoms like I did when I felt like it wasn't safe. But if I had been dating the guy, or I trusted the guy, I really didn't, because I liked it. And that's a shitty reason. That's a stupid reason. I mean, not only for STDs, which I had a lot of really good luck with, but also for babies, which, my luck ran out, and I never thought it would. That's why I didn't care. That's why I was apathetic about it. But it's really important. Anyway, on to the next phase. I'm going from this blasé, nonchalant, reckless attitude about babies, about birth control. I was kind of even using Plan B as birth control, which it is not, by the way. It is less effective the more you use it. I think I've used it 4 times now, twice with one guy. It's really not birth control, and you really shouldn't trust it as such. But I was with this guy that I had used Plan B with before, that I was just really irresponsible with, and it was both of us, partaking in this. It wasn't him pressuring me or anything, but I definitely took it too far, and obviously that does not work, and I didn't care at the time. It wasn't that logically I understood that I was being really reckless, but I just wanted to have fun, and that's just a shitty, really irresponsible, immature way of thinking. So the hammer drops. I find out I'm pregnant. I had been feeling sick for 2 weeks, and I mentioned it to the guy, and he's like, "It kind of sounds like you're pregnant." And I was like, "Nah, I'm positive I'm gonna start my period any day now." And he's like, "No, just take a test." So, really funny story. We went to go buy some tests, and then we were like, "Oh, there's 10 here for $15 when this brand, one of them, costs $15. So obviously we should get this deal, 10 for 15. Well, we got home and looked at it, and it turned out it was 10 ovulation tests instead of 10 pregnancy tests. So that was really hilarious. We went back to exchange it, and I was like, "Oh, don't you hate when this happens?" And the cash register guy was like, "Yeah, it happens way too often, trust me." And I'm like, "Okay, it's really weird. Maybe you should move them around then." But we got the pregnancy tests. I took one that night, and I had taken pregnancy tests before because obviously I am irresponsible. But usually the minus sign comes up right away. The negative comes up immediately, and I'm like, okay, well, I gotta wait the proper amount of time. And then it's just still a negative. This time, the positive came up immediately, and I was like, maybe they're broken. I don't know. I've never had an immediate positive, and I thought maybe it took a little bit of time so it could go, let me check. Nope, it just knew. It was like, girl, you pregnant as fuck right now. Like, you really need to get this sorted out because you're super pregnant. And the next morning, I went into his room and I was like, babe, is this what I think it is? Is that a positive sign? And he was like, oh my God. And I was like, oh my God. Immediately dissociated from the situation. The next morning I woke up. I took another one just to make sure, hey, maybe it would be negative. Well, it wasn't. So like I said, I was dissociating. I did things, but I didn't feel things. And I told him, and I called my sister, and she was just like, all right, well, what are you thinking? And I was like, well, abortion is what I'm thinking. And she was like, okay, all right, cool. Are you going to tell mom? And I was like, I don't know if I'm going to tell mom. But I told my mom. And I told my mom and my siblings, and I got a really surprising response. And in retrospect, it's not surprising, but in the moment it was, because in my head I was like, stupid, idiot. How did you think? You were just running away from this problem, just ignoring it, ha, and then pregnancy is in the background chasing you down because you're not freaking using birth control, lady. What were you thinking? Anyway, in my head I was being very judgmental, and I just felt really stupid and irresponsible and immature, and I've spent all this time carving myself out in the world as an adult who takes care of myself and is responsible, and this whole time a major irresponsibility is glaring right in my face. Just an opportunity to just be an adult and call a doctor and schedule an appointment for birth control, and I did none of that. And I said I was going to do it for months, and I'm pregnant now, Mom. What am I going to do? And I'm crying, and they're hugging me, and they're telling me that it's fine, that it happens, it's just life, stop stressing, stop being so hard on yourself, and we think you'd be a really good mom. Aww. They all told me, my whole support system told me that they think I'd make a really great mom, and they think that I should keep it, and some of them told me that I was just giving off the vibe that I was going to keep it, and at first, I didn't know. I didn't even know what I was feeling. Like I said, I wasn't even in my body. I did not want to be pregnant. And I told my boyfriend, I said, don't let me change my mind. Before I talked to my family, I told him, please don't let me change my mind. I know them. I know how much they mean to me, and I know how much they can sway me. But I know that I want to end this. But, I changed my mind. So, actually, before we talk about when I changed my mind, I want to talk about some specific things that were said to me during this period, because they were really impactful, and I just want to share these moments. They're mine, but I just want to share them because I don't want to take out the personal intimacy of it. But I do want to illustrate the kindness and the pain, because all these people were being loving and empathetic, but it hurt at the same time, and the whole time it hurt. The whole time I was pregnant, I felt sick, and I felt crazy, and I didn't understand it, and it was so confusing. And these things kind of were like lights in the dark, they kind of just shone out to me in those moments when I really wasn't even experiencing it. I was just kind of like a robot. You know how it is. And so my boyfriend, who wasn't even my boyfriend at the time, we were just kind of dating, getting to know each other, talking for a good couple of months, a good 4 or 5 months, but still not forever. and I had just gotten out of a really serious relationship, so I wasn't expecting to take things so far right away. And he, as I opened up to him about this, about how I was feeling, about how lost I was feeling, he said something to me that cut right through my brick wall of dissociation and made me really value the fact that I had the opportunity to be experiencing this with him instead of maybe somebody else who I could have possibly been with. He told me, I'm sorry that my actions didn't reflect how slowly I wanted to take things. And it stood out because that's how I was feeling. I felt like I had just broken off an engagement, okay? And I was so excited to not be married. And having a child with somebody is almost like marrying them. They're gonna be a part of your life forever, unless the kid dies, which, I hope that my kids never die before me. That would suck. But it happens, and I don't know. I completely lost my train of thought. The first thing that really impacted me was my mom. I know that she's like anti-abortion. She really doesn't like it. She thinks, she believes in God. And so it's like when you get pregnant, it's a gift from God. And I respect that. It's beautiful. And I respect her, and I respect her opinions. So her wanting me to keep this baby and wanting me to reconsider, because I told them straight away that I wanted an abortion, but they just didn't believe me. And they certainly didn't want me to get one. Maybe they, it was up to me, but I know that my mom did not want me to get one. And she told me on a phone call, I just really think you'll regret this decision, but if you decide to keep it, I think you'll love that decision. I think you'll love your life with this baby. And she told me all these beautiful stories about my sister and her, her first baby, and how she was terrified of kids. But I didn't relate because I was excited about being a mom. I thought I never wanted kids, and then I have one. I have an opportunity to have one, and I was kind of like, yeah, I could pull this off. I think I could do a really good job. And I talked to my sister about it, and I asked her a lot of questions, and her advice to me, which I think was just so grounding, and I'm so grateful that I called her almost immediately. She said, just take some time to sit with this. Sit with the fact, come to terms with the fact that you are pregnant right now. Because honestly, I hadn't yet. Even especially when I chose to have an abortion at first, I wasn't thinking about being pregnant. I was thinking about not being pregnant. So when I started thinking about being pregnant, when I started sitting with this and thinking about being introspective and not asking and not feeling what other people felt, when it was just me, I was really excited, and I was like, you guys are right. I would be an awesome mom. I think really highly of myself, and that did not go away. I was super excited. I thought I would do a really good job, and whatever situation I'm in now, I knew that it wasn't going to be the case in so and so many years. I know my worth, and I know I'm growing, and I know that that's not going to stop just because I have a baby. If anything, that's even more, reason to, the word. But a big reason that I chose not to have the baby was because I talked to my boyfriend about it, and he was not stoked. I told him, hey babe, I might be changing my mind. And he said, what? He was devastated, actually, and I understand. I mean, he definitely didn't think about being a father as much as I didn't think about being a mother before this happened. And opening up to my sisters and my mom about it, my older sister and my mom, they were just like, who gives a fuck about what he thinks? You can literally break up with him, tell him you got an abortion, and then just never let him meet the baby. It's just your baby. You don't even have to think about him. But in my eyes, I couldn't do that. I could never do that. I don't know if that's, I know that probably technically that's allowed. I don't know if that's legal, but I couldn't do it to him, especially because I talked to him about it. I knew his values. I knew that he would want to be his child's father. And I knew that if I kept the baby, he was going to be in my life forever. And I think the thing that impacted me the most was the fact that I did not want that. Not that I don't like the guy. I'm still with him now. He's awesome. I love him. But I didn't want to be with him forever. I mean, not at that moment, especially not at that moment. And I had just gotten out of this relationship where I was almost with someone forever, and it wasn't right, and it didn't feel right, and this didn't feel right. And he obviously didn't want this baby. He didn't want it either. And when I think about what they were saying, what my mom and my sister were saying about it, I think, this fictional baby I've created in my mind, the face that I picture, the fictional name, whatever, it's not anything yet. It's not even out of me yet. It's not even growing yet. Barely. Come on. I mean, this person, this man standing in front of me, he's affected by this. He's obviously affected by this. This man with a heartbeat. I had to take his opinion into account. And they kept telling me that if I did that, I was letting him sway me, and that could build resentment and all this stuff, and I was gonna hate myself, and it was so scary. And I know they were trying to help. I know, and I really appreciate and value them and all the help that they did give me. But his opinion was important, because I would want to have my baby with somebody who wanted it. I would want to plan it out maybe and be a little bit prepared for it, I think I would probably want to do it the easiest way possible, knowing me, and that for children is planning and preparation. And he didn't feel prepared, and that made me not feel prepared, because he was going to be a part of it. And you're only as strong as the weakest link, as they say. No offense, I love you. But at one point in time, it kind of felt like I just wanted my boyfriend to feel how I was feeling. And so I maybe wanted to keep the baby in spite of him, because he didn't want it. And I wanted him to get his head out of his ass and realize what a prize he has. And he should be grateful that he's having a baby with me, not some psycho lady. And in retrospect, I think that's how I was feeling. And I think that it's kind of silly. And, I don't blame myself. It was hard. It felt very lonely. And he wasn't feeling what I was feeling. Of course he wasn't feeling what I was feeling. He wasn't pregnant. And it wasn't gonna be real for him until he was holding the baby. But for me, it was real right away, because I had been sick for weeks. So of course he wasn't gonna feel this. I felt like maybe I wanted him to, because I felt like it wasn't fair. And that wasn't right. And, of course, I apologize for that. I didn't mean to do that. But it was really difficult. It was a difficult decision to make, for sure. I had these two parts of my brain fighting. Logical versus emotional. At least that's what it felt like to me. Emotionally, I wanted to please my family. That's what I always wanted to do. I didn't want to let them down. I wanted to please the people I love. They all told me that I would be an excellent mother. They all told me that it was a good idea. It was a better idea to keep this baby. And I trust them. So, emotionally, I wanted to listen to them. I wanted to trust these people that just have my best interest in mind. But logically, I thought that maybe that wasn't my best interest. I felt like, I could not imagine being pregnant for 9 months. I was pregnant for 6 weeks, and it was absolute hell. I was so sick. I was so nauseous. I was so tired. Heat made me sick. Cold made me sick. I was so mean and aggressive and confused. Ugh. Would not want to be pregnant for 9 months. No, thank you. Second, logically, I have a plan for my life. I have goals. I'm working towards things. That wouldn't go away just because I have this baby. But I did have to start taking into account real life things, like where I was going to live, and if this guy was going to be the dad, which he very much wanted to be, where was he going to live? Was he going to move in with me? Were we going to pay our bills together? Were we going to be together? Were we just going to co-parent this kid? We had to figure out these actual logistics that I logically thought were just not worth it. When really it was just an easy thing. It was just a quick, I was so early. I didn't have to think about getting a surgical abortion, which definitely would have changed my thinking a little bit, changed my thought process, maybe would have changed my decision. But the fact that it was so early, it just felt like the smart thing to do was to end it. And I couldn't reconcile these two thoughts. Part of me thought it was smarter to not have the baby. Part of me thought that they were smarter and they wanted me to have the baby. So eventually I decided to take my sister's advice into account. I decided to let it sit because I couldn't get an appointment at an abortion clinic for 2 weeks. And as far as everyone else was telling me, they wouldn't give me the abortion day of. That was just going to be like a consultation, which turned out not to be true, but we'll get there.